there we go. I can hear myself now. Cool. Good morning, everyone. It is good to be with you. Sorry. Here we go. Cool. Yeah, there's one called Sunday School, and hopefully you have that. Good. Oh, fun. Very fun. Awesome. Good morning, everyone. It's so, okay, I'm a little loud, sorry. It's good to be here with you guys. I love getting to come be here with you all, so thank you for having me. My son is downstairs in Sunday school, and hopefully not destroying anything in your church. So anyway, I'm glad that we got to come and be with you guys today. So we have a lot to celebrate, and I don't want to give away everything because I'll be talking a little bit about some of that come time for the service. But I kind of want to give you a little bit of some of the nuts and bolts, if you will, of some of the stuff that's been going on at the camp as of late. So first of all, let me tell you that our last year, last season was the largest camp season in Central Iowa Bible Camp history, which is just incredible, absolutely. I am so humbled to be a part of an organization that has, we can say it officially now, it is 2026, turned 80 years old this year, which is just absolutely incredible, and it's wonderful to get to be a part of an organization that is thriving and is doing really well and is growing and expanding at all seams. So really fun stuff. And as you can see, we have a great time at camp, and it's a lot of fun to get to hang out with the kids and work with them. This past year, we actually expanded our programming to our ladies' retreat. Some of you were there, and we had a great time back in the fall getting to host. Over 50 women came for that event. I was a little bit on my own, I will tell you, but it was a great time. And when we released our dates for the year, I had some ladies call me and say, "Hey, Mike, I read all of your dates, and I didn't see ladies and women's retreat on there." And I said, "Don't you worry, we're just ironing out the details." Happy to report September, I think it's 25th, 26th, the last weekend in September, we're planning on having that again. So it's going to be a great time for that. So gentlemen, we are working on some details, and we're hoping to have a men's event this fall as well. More to come on all of that. But let's see. So probably the thing that you all might know about, maybe you don't know anything about at this point, but we're in the midst of a renovation. Now, to be totally honest with you, this is my 5th year being the director. It feels like we've been in a renovation since when we began. Does anybody else feel that? Like every time Mike comes, he talks about the new project, and actually more like the 5 projects that we're working on all at the exact time. So that being said, we said, let's just renovate the whole camp all at one time. Why not? Because that's what we actually need to do. Last year during senior high camp, some of you were there, on Thursday we went to the pond, and we always go up to the pond, usually the last day of camp. We swim, kayak, fish, jump off the new trampoline that we had out there this year in the pond, which was lots of fun. And there was even some fishing that happened out at the pond. But all the kids came home. Did I mention to you that it was our largest week of the entire summer? We were, we are kind of set up for about 100 people. Like we have about 120 beds. We have about 100 chairs in the chapel. We have 96 seats in the dining hall. We were feeding over 115 on a regular basis. So I brought all the picnic tables over to the dining hall. We were sitting 20-some seats outside, and we were just kind of making it work, and we were surviving. And every single one of those kids that had swam came home, jumped in the shower. It was the hottest day of the week. I'm sure that meter was just spinning, And one of the college rep kids from Ozark came in and into the dining hall as we were prepping dinner, said, "Mike, the main box is sparking." oh no. So we went outside and looked. And if you know the history of the camp, like this is not the first, second, or third time that an electrical pole is caught on fire, but this one would be the first time for me. And so what we found was that the main wire that goes above the panel to the meter had got so hot that it melted. And so luckily we have a master electrician that lives across the street. So I called him, and he came over, and we kind of got everything safe and calmed down. We had a friend from Atlantic come up and assess the problem. Mid-American Energy came out, shut off the power. And let me tell you guys, I'll talk a little more about this later today. But when you're doing things for the kingdom, the Lord has everything ready to go, right? Do you believe that? Do you believe that? Let me show you how that's true. We had a very specific, not super normal situation with our power box, okay? Is that a fair way to say it? And so the electrician that came from Atlantic is kind of on the back end of his career and is retiring and trying to sell off some equipment and liquidate things. And he gets to the camp, he looks at the box, and he says, I think that breaker that you need to have replaced is the one that I just listed for sale online today and sitting on my shelf. Let me call my wife. Turns out it was the case. We had to wait 45 minutes for her to drive from Atlantic to bring us the breaker. It was actually the better breaker. We didn't have the right breaker. Now we had the right breaker, and it was the correct one. And now at least it would not melt the wire anymore. It would blow the breaker before it would do that, which is what breakers are for. If you didn't come to church hoping for an electrician lesson, did you? We might have some of that today. So we knew from that point that we were now in new territory of, we knew we had some things that weren't quite right. Now we know we have some things that need to be replaced. And so we spent about the next 6 months kind of working with an electrician that's one of our ministers at the Dallas Christian Church in Melcher, Dallas, Iowa. His name's Tim Burkhead. Tim and I have been growing to get to know each other. At my very first event that I did for the camp, I was hired in October, and in November we had our very first annual meeting. Tim was there with his wife. He walked up to me and shook my hand and said, "Hi, I'm Tim. I'm an electrician, and I'd love to talk to you about your electrical problems." I said, "Cool." So we've been getting to know each other over the last 5 years, and we have developed a plan in which we have now already engaged, and we are in the middle of. We've invited the state inspector twice to the property, and so as I say, we are now in the game. We are going to fix this. We are going to change this. And the Lord is doing it. It's incredible. So let me just kind of unpack a couple things for you. As I said, in 2025, we had a constant season of growth. Every program was larger. Every program, everywhere I looked, I saw more mouths to feed. I saw more beds to care for. All of the things. We had all of these things happening. And so with all of those growths and all of those things on our laboring on our facilities, we've done what we can to expand where we feel like we can. We've expanded programs. We've actually taken our high school program, we added an additional one. So every age group has 2 programs now. And last year, the last 2 years, we had this secondary high school program that was only kind of a weekend event. Now we've expanded it to a full week. So now every single age has 2 options of a week long or whatever age appropriate length of time it is. So we're expanding out on if you look at my calendar, there's no gaps between when we start and when we stop. And so we're expanding the programs. We're adding this year a day camp, which we're really, really excited for. We had 2 programs that kind of handle our younger kids. We have Grandparents and I Camp, which some of you have been to, and then we have Teddy Bear Camp, which is like a mom and I, dad and I sort of program. Again, many of you have been to that. Both of those programs have been filling up, and we've been shutting down registration for each of those camps. So day camp kind of came out of that. Tony Brandt's wife oh my goodness, Monica. Monica Brandt is going to be running that camp with Emily Willis, my secretary. Those two are going to do a fantastic job. That'll be a program where parents come out for a Saturday with their kids and have a good taste. It's a great place to start with young people and things like that. And then also we've been expanding out into the fall events, as I mentioned as well. Take me to the next slide. Where are we at here? So ultimately, we are at a place where we need to fix some of the problems we have, but also increase some of the things that we have going on. So the plan is, Tim Burkhead and Burkhead Electric came to me with a proposal of a total camp-wide solution. One of the things that we've learned is the things that we can see are in such poor shape that the things we can't see behind walls we don't trust, and so we're gonna redo all of it. So we're at a place where we're afraid if we fix something over here, it's going to cause major havoc and chaos over here. So I would love to say, hey, we're just going to do like one cabin, at a time. No. We're going to do all the cabins all at the exact same time, and we're going to completely redo the system. Currently, we had 400 amps coming to the property. We're going to double that and go to 800 amps of service. And we're going to bore into the ground and bring wire to each of the buildings in the ground, so there'll be no overhead wires for tree branches to fall on and lightning to strike and all of those kinds of things. So along the way, we initially had a proposal that would be what's called surface mount. Everything just kind of screwed to the wall and on a conduit and those kinds of things. And what I really kind of landed on was that with the expense that was included and the labor that was needed, and then the materials that I can see in the cabins and things, we really saw that there was a need for a renovation to take place. For example, in all of our bathrooms, I didn't realize this. Every year, the magnifying glass kind of gets a little bit more into focus, and I kind of see more and more things. But we had a water line break in one of the cabins, and when the water went everywhere, I noticed how porous materials all of the walls in the bathrooms were. And so we ultimately want to address those kinds of things. I started just looking out from there at all the other cabins. And what we realized that for a less expensive side of the electricians working, rather than doing the conduit and all of the surface mount, we could rip out all the walls and all the ceilings, and then they could come in and do like a new construction sort of thing with Romax and whatnot. And the savings there would be almost equal, so that we could come back and resurface everything after that. But that means we have a little bit of labor to do along the way. So in January, usually you don't start camp projects in the month of January, but January 18th, we had about 50 people come out. Don't get ahead of me yet, Joel, hang on. We had about 50 people come out, and we tore out all of the bunk beds, and we got a hold of a semi-truck trailer. I was telling the kids downstairs, it's going to be a bit of a puzzle to put them all back together coming the end of the spring, but all the bunk beds are currently safe inside of a semi-truck trailer that we have at the camp. We had an army of people out there to help us with that day. It went really, really well, and we've begun tearing out the demo and all of that kind of stuff on the camp. Tell you what, Joel, do you want to go back to that video real quick at the front? This was, it's a little bit of old news, but this was the most recent production that we put together on a demo. Well, this is the finish of demo day number 4, I believe. I think I forgot to make one for number 3, but we are officially done with the girls' side. Been seeing lots of names from many years ago. I seen a 1965 autograph on a wall. That's kind of fun. So we are headed over to the boys' side. In fact, Rex's tractor is full of all our tools, and we're walking up the hill right now. So next weekend, whatever that day is, I'll put right here. We're going to be starting on the boys' hill, and the electricians are coming very soon.
Lots of great things happening. We'd love for you to join us and help us with Boys Hill as we transition up there. We'll see you soon.
So did anybody recognize the cabins in the way that they used to look years ago? When I grew up at the camp, we didn't have, walls and air conditioners and insulation and all that kind of stuff. Really? Oh, okay, yeah. So thank you for pointing that out, because the old shutters are still there, and we're going to be cleaning some of that up as we move forward here. But when we opened up cabin 1, which was the first cabin that was built on the property, it didn't have any insulation behind the walls. I don't know why that was, but this, again, affirmation. We need to tear these things out so that we can put it back right. But the signatures that were all over the cabin, there is a Debbie and Gary that, those church camp relationships, if you know, you know. But they were, big bold letters over here, and then Debbie over here. And anyway, so I didn't see any names that, connected with Brooklyn or Madison Church of Christ specifically. You guys were smarter than like Murray Church of Christ that wrote their name big and proud. But anyway, so it's fun. It used to be a tradition that people would write their names on the walls and the ceilings. Moving forward, we're done with that, especially when it comes to the new walls and ceilings when we get there. But so we've been working on tearing out all of the walls and ceilings and bathrooms and all those kinds of things. And as we go, we're trying to make sure we fix up anything that needs it. There's a number of, for example, in that cabin right there, that you see in front, if you look over on the left, there's a window on the left. The windows on the right are in good shape, but the window on the left is a vertical window that's sitting over on its side. And we're going to tear that out and reframe it in, and then we're going to add some functional, vertical, small windows in the front to where you can open it up, get a nice little breeze in there, but they can be protected for sleeping quarters and all of that. So we're trying to make some improvements along the way. Joel, can you go back to the other slide, the plan for the cabins? So after the demo is done, the electrical service is coming. In that video, it was a little bit, I didn't know everything when I was talking. We had to go back and come in and reframe the bathrooms. And so we actually went up to Boys Hill, started the demolition, then we came right back to Girls Hill and started framing in the bathrooms. Evidently, in order to put a light switch in a bathroom, you need somewhere to put it. So we had to do that. So I'm really happy to report that as of yesterday afternoon, and thanks to the crew of men, construction workers that came from the Atlantic Church of Christ yesterday, Girls Hill is framed and ready to go. The electricians come this week, which is just amazing. So along the way of the planning, one of the things we looked into and wanted to do was wanted to make sure, a lot of the cabins kind of had window air conditioners or things. Again, still was an improvement from the no screen windows that we used to have. But we wanted to actually calculate what was needed in those spaces and get correct measurements. So we're going to go to a heat pump system with a mini split in each cabin, which each zone will be controlled. You can control it. So when Joel asks you to come and volunteer at his week of camp, let me tell you that you will be able to, you can't now, but you will be able to tune your side of the cabin to the right temperature that you might want for sleeping and those kinds of things. So this system will be rated up to 100 degrees in the summer and down to 0 degrees in the wintertime. So it does include heat, and that's good information for the ladies at Ladies Retreat, which they were cold last year. Yes?
So is the outerior of the cabin still going to be the same?
That's a great question. So generally speaking, sort of. So he asked, are the outsides going to change? They're going to kind of keep a consistent framing and things like that. Now, when you were at camp this past year, did you notice the fluorescent pink cabin? Did you ever notice that sitting right? Yeah, just the light bulb went off in his head. So we're going to tone down the pink cabin just a little bit, and we're going to go back. That's one of the cabins that we're going to re-put siding on. I have a guy that gave us roof metal a few years ago. He's coming back, and we're going to sheet all the cabins that need new siding it's going to be a brown color. So don't tell the girls. They're going to be really upset. Just you and me. Okay, perfect. All right. My neighbors are so excited. But anyway, we may come back and paint later on, but anyway. So generally speaking, the outsides will look pretty much the same. But then when what I'm telling you is we're going back with new HVAC. We're going to go back with new plumbing accordingly. And then the walls are going to be sheeted with 5/8 material. It'll kind of have a board and batten look if you kind of have a thought in your mind. And then we're going to go with a tongue and groove car siding on the ceiling. So it really will have a nice cabin feel when it's all said and done, and be very consistent all the way around. So you might be running numbers in your head, those of you that shop at Menards or do things like that regularly, and be thinking, Mike, this is going to cost a few pennies and cents to go together. And I have to tell you that when Joel and I were sitting in the board meeting in November before Thanksgiving, and we were going through the proposal, and we had no starting place, we were all a little nervous because, go ahead and go to the next slide. The number has actually grown, and now this is a pretty good estimation. If you've ever done construction project, estimation. We're approximating that the total cost of this project will be $230,000. So, my favorite moment in that meeting was one of our board members, she said, well, we all know we need to do it, but we don't have $200,000. And to which, we kind of come up with some ideas of, well, we could do some fundraising, we could get a loan, we could do whatever. And the general consensus of it was, if the Lord wants us to do this, he's going to take care of it. Okay? Now, that's really fun to say in front of a group of people. It's really kind of a nice thing for me to say to the board. God's got it taken care of. We did have some help with the electricians of not expecting us to pay for it up front. They were going to work with us, but we said, let's see what God does, and let's get this ball rolling. And I have to tell you that I spent about a month preparing even this presentation and getting all of the materials out. And the very first thing, maybe some of you received it, we sent out a newsletter at Christmas time. And we said, all these different things are going on, but we included in there a little document, and there's a bunch of copies on the table. If you would like to have one, you are more than welcome. But it kind of broke down, the little cabins are going to cost about $8,000. The dining hall is going to cost about $30,000. The Mid-American Energy is going to be about $16,000. Just kind of broke all those numbers down. And before I could get it published, before I could get it printed, before I could get it to the postman to give it to you all, the Lord sent us over $100,000 in a month's time. Above and beyond things we weren't expecting, and it wasn't just one person. It was multiple checks, multiple gifts, multiple year-end things, and the Lord said, let's get started. Do we serve an amazing God or what? If you are on the path that he wants for you, this is not a self-help. This is not a formula. It's just the simple truth that if God wants you to do something and you're willing to say, yes, Lord, he will take care of the rest. Amen? And so within a month, we had $100,000. Within another month, we had multiple churches and groups committing to tens of thousands of dollars. And I'm really, I don't have this slide for you now. Be surprised later when I share it in the sermon time and show you the graphic. But as of this past week, and this is actually not an accurate number any longer, because that's the way this whole thing has gone. Every time I publish something, more comes in, and it's irrelevant information. But as of last week, we've raised 79% of this project already. Praise God for that. I mean, just incredible. Just incredible. And so I really feel like the efforts that I've put towards this, I'm trying to be faithful. I'm trying to do the work. I'm trying to, schedule myself to come and speak to groups of people just like this. But even before I show up, look what the Lord has done, right? It's not anything to do with me or what our board is doing, other than we're just trying to follow where God's leading us, and he's literally taking care of this. So Absolutely incredible. Now, let me add one quick caveat while we're here and I'm describing this to you. We had to draw a line somewhere to say, we're going to try to do this much work this year. That number could have been a lot larger. Does that make sense? Like, there's a lot of things that we could do. We have, for example, I spoke with our septic system company this past week, working on getting a quote for a new septic system up on Boys Hill. It's probably going to be near 20 grand, would be my guess. If we raise 250,000 instead of 230, maybe we could do that too. Do you understand what I'm saying? So there's a certain amount of like this might take care of these needs that we've laid out that we know of at this moment. But that's an estimate, and then also there's so much more to do. You know, if any of you win the lottery and you want to be generous to the camp, I'll give you my phone number, okay? You know what I'm saying? Like the more, I really believe it's ammunition for the kingdom. The more ammunition we get, the more things we're able to accomplish for the camp and for the kingdom. So anyway, that's just kind of a brief overview of what that is. Take me to the next one, would you? So there's lots of ways that you guys can partner and be a part of this. I know that when I say big numbers like $230,000, most of you say, okay, great for you, let's move on, because that's such a big number, your eyes just kind of gloss over. But we've really tried hard to give options and opportunities for people to be involved. I have been, when I put this together, I thought, how do I get every family, every camper involved? You know, you could come down all the way to thinking about it in a mattress scholarship, like $25. You could go that far. What's been shocking to me is how many people have said, no, I want to give more. I want to be more invested in part. I had a family from Indianola called after they got our newsletter, heard we were doing this project, and they said, when I was a kid, I went and stayed in cabin 3 as a little girl. As an adult, I volunteered and I stayed in cabin 3. And now as my daughter's coming to camp, we stay in cabin 3. We've been a part of cabin 3. You all probably know them because you've seen them in cabin 3. And so they said, here's $8,000 for cabin 3. We want to see that done. And then they showed up on the first workday and they took all the bunk beds out as a family. They had like a show choir thing to do that afternoon, but they came and they helped with that. It's just been absolutely incredible. We have a number of churches, which is how the cabins were built years ago. Churches came together and said, we're going to stand up a cabin so that kids can have a place to sleep and stay. And so we're encouraging every church to at least do that. The Murray Church, I think they want 2 or 3. You know, like they're just all in and all for it. And so I was at Carroll last week. They're landing on cabin 1. They have it about 75% funded already and going to be doing more. So I would highly recommend if you as families want to participate in that way. If some of you in the church want to band together, we'd love for Madison to have a cabin that they have sponsored and helped with. And you know, Joel has been inside every cabin with his saw, and we all know he was there. But we would love for Madison Church to be a partner in that way as well. So lots of ways we can kind of break that down, and we're keeping track as we go. You know, if you want to go to a certain aspect of the project, again, it's more in detail broke down on the table if you want to do that. Go ahead to the next. Again, every time I print something, it's old news, but beginning January 10th, I guess it was, we started this whole project. I believe the next work day that we're working on the project is on March 28th, I think. In my other presentation, it shows those numbers. But so we have some demolition left, we have some framing to do, and then when it comes time after the electricians are done, we're going to go back and we'll need some help remodeling, as well as that big day when we put the puzzle back together of all the bunk beds. They're labeled really, really well, so we know which cabin they came from and things like that, but lots of stuff heading up there. Now, the thing about the work days is that I am very open to if somebody had a random Tuesday that they felt like they could come in and help tear out some walls or do some frame, whatever it might be. I really think there's work for everyone to do, and you don't have to be a really skilled laborer. Again, me and Joel have had a great time. We get all kinds of things done over there. He's a much more skilled guy than I am. Give him a tape measure. He loves running a tape measure. Anyway, so yeah, there's lots of things we can have everybody be a part of, and we'd love for that to continue to be the case. All right, show me the next one. Yeah, so along the way, we have used this program called Team Reach. Does anybody know what Team Reach is? Does Brooklyn School District use it or anything like that? My superintendent at Earlham School District encouraged us to use it. It's kind of a mass communication way, and so if you download the app Team Reach and you type in the name CIBC Project 2026, it'll pull up an option. So what that is just kind of like the most direct pipeline of communication, where I'll be like, hey, we weren't planning on working today, but we're gonna run out there and do some stuff. Anybody want to come? That's just kind of a direct way. Also on our Facebook is the next. Almost everything that goes Team Reach, we try to get to Facebook, and vice versa. So anyway, those are ways that you can be informed of the project details and all of that. I think as we get into the month of May and things start really moving, that'll be used even more and more. So, is Q&A next? Yeah. So, I know that was like a fire hose approach to a huge project that is in the midst and the Lord is providing for already. But what questions do you have about that? Anything I can answer? And if you have questions about camp at large, I could definitely address those as well. Yes?
Is there gonna be, like, I saw sinks in the background of
Mm-hmm.
those. Is that the main restrooms? Like,
Those are the, so in each cabin has sinks and toilets and showers. And so we've been tearing those out of there. Our hope is to go back with something like maybe you would see in your home rather than something you see, I don't know, in a dugout at a ball field or something. You know what I mean? We're trying to have some nicer things like that. We got a few different cabinet makers and plumbers that are helping us with things. So there will be sinks to wash your hands and brush your teeth. And there will be a shower for you to shower in. It'll be provided. I don't know if I can get them to use it, but that's a whole nother conversation. Other questions? Yes?
What percentage of the work is already done?
Well, there's definitely what I don't know what I don't know, in the work ahead of us. So there's 11 cabins. Of the 11 cabins, 6 of them are demoed and framed, ready for the electricians to work on this week. They're coming this week to do that. So once the electricians come in, then we'll go back and resheet the walls and the ceilings, and then they'll finish, adding the receptacles and light switches and those kinds of things, the last minute stuff. So 6 cabins are maybe halfway there. Maybe, probably. We'll go with that. Boys Hill, there's 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. They all have different versions of how much we're actually doing. And we're leaving a few of those spaces because they're not that old and not in too bad a shape. I know some of you here helped build some of those spaces even, and so some of them are not too bad, and we're going to kind of leave them as they are, and then we'll do some surface mount things in some of those spaces. But anyway, so 7, 8, and 9 are probably 75% demoed. So the goal is going to be to have the electricians do their work, and while they're doing that over the next couple weeks, get those boys' cabins ready, so when they're done, they can go straight to the boys' cabin, then we'll flip-flop, do those kinds of things. So yeah, when you look at that workday schedule, more work is going to have to happen between now and then to get them, because there's only 2 days over the next 2 months, and the electricians will be done sooner than that. So if that helps answer that. Still lots and lots to do. And part of completion is knowing at what date do we have to be done. And that date, if you haven't heard, is June the 7th. And it's quickly coming, but it's going to be good. I'm really pleased with how much work we have accomplished already. Really, first week of March, and we're over halfway there probably, is awesome. So we've had probably over 100 volunteers come and help with this project, so it's been great. Other questions?
So with two activities per age group,
Yeah.
is
Yeah, yeah, so we're with adding, really that's only one program change, to be honest, like with the high schoolers, which over the stats that we've had for the last 5 years, that's kind of how long I have information from the time that I've been here. Believe it or not, we have been on a annual, exactly the same amount of growth. How it hasn't changed and it's increased every year blows my mind. I can't tell you why it's not 9 and why it's not 11, but we've had 10% growth 4 years in a row, which is just incredible. So to answer your question, if we continue the growth that we have 4 years consecutively, we will be out of space, no doubt. And our calendar's full as it is. So there's a few opportunities. Maybe we could, this year with the way the month falls, we almost have a week off the very first week. Usually we try to take like a 4th of July week off, but we're actually going all the way till, I think 4th of July is on a Saturday. We have a program end on Thursday. So we're really trying to plug all those kinds of things in there. So I think what you might be getting at is it kind of sounds like we need more beds, right? Like that's probably the truth. The electrical was the obvious priority of where we needed to start on all of this. But the truth is that if I added more beds, I'm answering 2 or 3 questions here for you that you didn't even ask. But if I added more beds today, I still don't have room for them in the dining hall, and I still don't have room for them in the chapel. So we have a juggling match going on here of these three things. So. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we would love to see expansion. I think from what I can see at the moment, I think our priority is going to be in trying to address those other 2 spaces first, just so we can kind of bring everything level or beyond, and talking with other camps and how they kind of work. The largest camp in the state of Iowa, Hidden Acres, has been doing this for 30 years, and it's just this constant level up. They had more beds than they had dining. Now they have more dining than they have beds. And anyway, it's kind of a or a dog and tail kind of scenario. But anyway, so I think that's the hope, that we get through this project this year, and we start setting our sights on what exactly that next need is. I do believe that the dining hall facility, as it stands today, is struggling in a number of places and has already been added onto in each direction thus far. And so I think that probably requires a new space, a new building, and there might be a way to kind of do a multi-purpose kind of thing where we could address the chapel and the dining hall and kitchen all in the same realm. So that, to be totally honest with you, I was really hoping to be sharing that kind of a project with you, not a $230,000 electrical, kind of program. But that's kind of where we're at. So yeah. But we've been in conversations about it. We're taking things in priority at the moment. So great question. And what a great problem to have. And not enough space. Amazing. Yes, sir.
Last year when you came, you brought a trailer because you had the auction.
Mm-hmm.
Still having an auction this year.
That's a great question as well. Yeah. So April the 11th is our annual auction that we do. I will tell you that we are a little bit lacking for materials at this moment in time. Our attention has been a bit elsewhere, but we are definitely taking donations. So what we'd like to do is, I'm announcing it to you now, and Joel, maybe we should come up with a date that we'd love for you guys to, actually I think you have a trailer, or somebody around here has a trailer. We want you guys to bring some stuff and load it in the trailer, and either I'll come get it or something, we'll work it out for us to take delivery on. But yes, April the 11th, we are having an auction. For the ladies that were at Ladies Retreat, we had a really nice coffee trailer. They're coming to the auction, and we're really excited to have them. So they're going to handle all our concessions and stuff like that. We do have a pickup truck, 2001 Chevy Silverado. needs a motor, but it is in the auction for sale, as well as some farm equipment and some tools and a number of other things, and all the things that you all will be providing as well. So anyway, we'd love for your guys' participation in that. Great question. Other questions? Thank you. Thank you guys for all your support. This church has been a wonderful partner of the camp for many, many years in many ways, and we're just very thankful. Thankful that you guys share your minister with us and let him come and hang out with me often. And so we're appreciative of Joel and his family and them coming out and being a part of camp and all of our programming and all of our activities. And he'll tell you, and I'll tell you as well, that camp's a pretty special place. It's not just because I happen to work there. The only reason that I work there is because it made such an impact on my life. And it's exciting to get to see so many young people and adults. We're not just a kids camp. We're a camp for all ages of all people. And it's great to get to see so many come together. It's great to see pictures. I know they were all at Superstart this past weekend, the 5th and 6th graders, I think. A bunch of our camp kids from many churches right there. They all congregated in Omaha for some reason. I don't know what's over they need Jesus over that side of the border. So we sent our kids that way to help Nebraska. Anyway, I have that wrote in my sermon later, so I'm not just saying it again just because. But anyway, we're just thankful for you guys and thankful for all you do and your continued support of the camp. So I think your clock says 9 o'clock, but I know better. So we're probably about done with our time. So can I pray for you real quick and we'll finish. Father, thank you for today. Thank you for just the opportunity we have to be in this house, God. Thank you for the many, many years that a bunch of faithful people have been coming together under these roofs and worshiping you, lifting your name on high. Thank you for their impact all around the state through things like the camp, even all around the world through things like Salonique and Alfe and the work he's doing in Haiti. Thank you for families in Iowa getting to be a part of your kingdom coming to the earth. And God, we just ask for that to continue to happen. So we thank you for all that you do. We ask a blessing to be continued to be poured out over the camp as you've been doing for so many, many years. Lord, we want to be faithful to you and just walk in the direction that you would have for us to do. Be with our board as we try to make decisions and follow you ourselves and as a group for the sake of the camp and the sake of our campers. God, we ask for a fruitful year, that not only that there would be bodies coming to the camp and sleeping in the beds, but decisions would be made, hearts would be won for your kingdom, and that you would just wrap your arms around each and every one of us as we continue on today and into the future. We love you, Lord, and it's in your name that we pray. Amen.